Neighbor knocked on my door, said, "I think your husband is cheating." I laughed and said, "I know." She looked confused until I held up a folder. Inside were divorce papers already signed. This is my first time posting here, and I never thought I'd be sharing something like this. But after everything that's happened, I need to get it off my chest. I'm 43, and my husband, Mark, is 45. We've been married for 20 years and have 2 kids, 16 and 14. We live in a quiet neighborhood in Sacramento, California. Mark and I met in college. He was charming, funny, and made me feel special. We got married right after graduation and built a life together. He started his own landscaping business, and I became a high school teacher. We had our ups and downs, like any couple, but I thought we were solid. About a year ago, I started noticing changes. Mark became distant, spending more time on his phone and less time with the family. He'd come home late, claiming he had to meet clients or deal with emergencies. He stopped initiating conversations and seemed irritated when I tried to talk. At first, I thought it was stress from work. His business had been growing, and he was taking on more clients. But the excuses became more frequent, and his behavior more suspicious. He started guarding his phone, even taking it into the bathroom. He changed his passwords and became defensive when I asked questions. One evening, while Mark was in the shower, his phone buzzed with a message from someone named Lila. Curious, I glanced at it and saw a message that read, "Can't wait to see you tonight." My heart sank. I knew I shouldn't snoop, but I had to know the truth. I managed to unlock his phone and found a series of messages between him and Lila, filled with flirtatious language and plans to meet. There were also photos, nothing explicit, but intimate enough to confirm my worst fears. I felt a mix of anger, betrayal, and sadness. I didn't confront him immediately. Instead, I started gathering evidence. I took screenshots of the messages and photos, saved them to a hidden folder on my computer, and began documenting his behavior. I also started seeing a therapist to help me process my emotions and plan my next steps. After a few weeks, I decided to consult a divorce attorney. I wanted to understand my options and protect myself and my children. The attorney advised me to continue gathering evidence and to avoid confronting Mark until I was ready to proceed with the divorce. I followed the advice and continued to act as if everything was normal. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done, pretending to be okay while knowing my marriage was falling apart. I focused on my children, my job, and my own well-being. One Saturday morning, our neighbor, Sarah, knocked on my door. She looked uncomfortable and hesitant. "Hey, I need to talk to you about something," she said. "Sure, come in," I replied, trying to hide my anxiety. We sat down in the living room, and she took a deep breath. "I don't know how to say this, but I think Mark is cheating on you," she said, looking at me with concern. I couldn't help but laugh. "I know," I said, reaching for the folder on the coffee table. I handed it to her, and she opened it to find the divorce papers already signed. She looked at me, stunned. "I'm sorry," she said. "Don't be," I replied. "I'm done pretending. It's time to move on." Sarah stared at the divorce papers like she'd seen a ghost. "Wait," she said, her voice shaking a little. "You knew this whole time?" I nodded. "For a while." She looked like she wanted to say more but hesitated. She kept glancing at the folder, then back at me, like something was stuck in her throat. "What?" I asked. "Is there something else?" She bit her lip, fidgeted with her hands. Then she leaned in and lowered her voice. "I saw them together," she whispered, "at the Marriott off Howe Avenue. 2 nights ago." My blood ran cold, not because I was surprised, I'd already accepted the affair, but because Mark had told me he was out of town for a client meeting in Fresno. I even packed him a lunch. "He said he was in Fresno," I said flatly. Sarah shook her head. "I followed him. I didn't mean to spy, I was just going to Target and saw his truck in the hotel parking lot. I thought it was weird, so I waited a few minutes. Then she came out." "Lila?" I asked, though I wasn't sure what she looked like. I had seen parts of her in those photos: legs, lips, her curly blonde hair. She always cropped her face, but Mark never cropped his. Sarah nodded. Pretty, younger. Blonde. Wearing a red dress. Yeah, that tracked. Sarah looked down again. I feel awful. I should have said something sooner. It's okay, I said, but it wasn't. I appreciated her honesty, but deep down, I felt like a fool. Everyone probably knew. Everyone but me, until I did. Then Sarah said something that made my stomach twist. I think they've been together longer than you think. I used to see her car here, parked a few houses down. Thought it was a friend of yours. I didn't respond. I didn't want to tell her I'd found photos of them dated back to last spring. That was over a year ago. While I was taking care of his sick mom. While I was planning his surprise 44th birthday. While I was crying in the bathroom, thinking it was me who wasn't enough. He was screwing Lila. Later that night, I stood at the kitchen sink, staring out into the dark backyard. The porch light flickered, and the wind knocked a potted plant off the table. I didn't move. I couldn't. I was frozen with anger. Then my daughter, Claire, walked in. She looked at me. Mom, is Dad coming back home? I swallowed hard. No, sweetheart. He's not. She nodded slowly. Okay. Did you want to talk about it? I asked gently. She hesitated. Did he leave because he didn't love us anymore? That broke me. I went down to my knees and pulled her into a hug. No. This isn't your fault. He loves you. He made some choices that weren't okay. Claire was always the quiet one. She didn't cry. She just sat with me on the kitchen floor for what felt like hours. The next twist came 2 weeks later. Mark showed up unannounced, standing on the porch with a sheepish look and a bag of takeout from that Thai place I liked. Like that would fix it. What are you doing here? I asked through the screen door. I just wanted to talk. No, please. 5 minutes. I should have said no again. But curiosity, or anger, let me open the door. He stepped in like it was still his house. Looked around like he missed it. Then he looked at me. I messed up, he said. You think? I didn't plan for it to happen. Lila was just. It wasn't serious. She knew your schedule better than I did, I snapped. You let her into our life. He stayed quiet. I signed the papers, I added. I'm not changing my mind. That's when he looked up and dropped the bomb. She's pregnant. Time stopped. I sat down slowly, not because I was shocked he got someone else pregnant. I'd almost expected it, but because that meant something new. Something uglier. Are you keeping it? I asked. She is. I didn't want to tell you like this, but I didn't want you to find out from someone else. Oh, you mean like how I found out about the affair? I said, voice dripping with sarcasm. He didn't have a comeback for that. He left the takeout on the table and walked out without another word. I didn't touch the food. I threw it out. A week after that, Sarah knocked again. Weird question, she started. Did you know someone's been sitting outside your house at night? What? I walk my dog at midnight. There's a black Honda that parks across the street. No plates. Windows tinted. I felt my stomach twist again. Show me. That night, I stayed up. Around 11:45 p.m., a car pulled up. Black Honda. No lights. Just sat there. I called the cops. They came by, but the car sped off before they arrived. They said they'd keep an eye on it, but they didn't sound hopeful. Next morning, I got an email from a burner address. If I can't have him, no one will. I froze. I hadn't told anyone about the divorce except Sarah, my lawyer, and a few family members. Whoever sent that email knew. I called my lawyer the next day. She didn't waste time. We need to document everything. Screenshot the email, print it. If it escalates, we file for a restraining order. I did everything she said. But what scared me most wasn't the words. It was that whoever sent the email knew exactly what to say to get into my head. If I can't have him, no one will. That wasn't just jealousy. That was obsession. And there was only one person who might be that far gone. Lila. But it didn't add up. She won. She had Mark. She had the baby. Why would she threaten me? Unless. That night, I looked back through the screenshots I took from Mark's phone all those months ago. I zoomed in on one of the cropped photos he sent her. His reflection was faintly visible in a window behind her. Another had her sitting on what looked like a patio chair, but not our patio. I remembered thinking it was odd, like he was taking pictures from the side, like he wasn't in them with her. She always sent solo shots. Always edited. Always cropped. I opened his email account. I still had access. He never changed the password. There were dozens of emails between them. But one thread stood out. Your booking confirmation. The sender was from the same Marriott Sarah had mentioned. Attached was a receipt for a room under the name Monica Lewis. Monica. That name from the text I'd seen on his phone. And in that moment, it hit me. Lila wasn't the only one, and maybe she wasn't even the one who sent that threatening email. The next day, I messaged the Marriott directly. I asked them if they could verify who checked in under Monica's name. I said I had legal concerns, which wasn't a lie. They were hesitant, but I pushed. Told them I'd get a subpoena if I had to. They called me back later that afternoon. Miss Turner? We don't have a Monica Lewis in our system for that day. But a woman named Jessica Browning used her ID to check in. She paid with someone else's credit card, though. Mark Turner. You said this was your husband. I felt like my chest cracked open. Jessica. A name I hadn't heard in years. Jessica was his ex. From high school. The one he told me never to worry about. She moved to Oregon after college. I never thought about her again. But I remembered seeing her name pop up in Mark's phone a couple of years ago. He told me it was just a friendly catch-up. She was married now, he said. Apparently not. I didn't sleep that night. My mind kept racing. I couldn't stop thinking. What if he was never just cheating with one woman? What if he was juggling them? I pulled up his credit card statements online. I still had access to that too. There were charges at a florist in Roseville, a lingerie store in Folsom, and a jewelry shop in Auburn, all within 3 weeks. I hadn't gotten flowers in months. No new lingerie. And jewelry? He hadn't bought me anything since our anniversary 2 years ago. So who the hell was he buying gifts for? The next morning, I drove to the florist. I didn't give them a story. I just asked if they remembered any recent orders from Mark Turner. The cashier blinked. He comes in twice a month. Regular. Sends flowers to 3 different addresses. 3? I asked. She checked her computer. One's here in Sacramento. One in Granite Bay. One in Oregon. Oregon. Jessica. I went back to my car, locked the doors, and screamed into my hands. This wasn't a love affair. This was a damn network. He had 3 women. At least. Lila, Jessica, and someone else in Granite Bay. That's when everything shifted. I wasn't hurt anymore. I was furious. I didn't just want a divorce. I wanted every woman he was playing to know the truth. I wanted to light a fire under this mess and watch it burn all the way down. But before I could start making calls, something else happened. I got a text from an unknown number. Stop digging, or your kids find out everything. I stared at it, numb. Then a second message came in. He's not who you think he is. Neither are you. I read that last line over and over again. Neither are you. What the hell did that mean? After the second anonymous text, I didn't sleep for 48 hours. My mind was racing. Who knew enough about me to threaten my kids? Who had that kind of access? I changed all my passwords. I installed security cameras. I even kept Claire and Ryan home from school for 2 days until I felt sure nobody was following us. That's what this whole thing had turned into. Paranoia, suspicion, a complete breakdown of normal life. Then I got a call from Mark. Can we talk? He asked. You mean lie to me again? No thanks. It's important. It's not about us. I agreed, but only if we met in public. We chose a park near our old high school. I thought maybe being around familiar scenery would stop me from flipping the table. He looked awful. Hair messy. Eyes tired. He had lost weight. I wish I could say I felt sympathy. I didn't. I need to tell you something, he said, not looking me in the eye. I waited. He took a deep breath. Lila's not pregnant. I stared at him. What? She lied. She thought it would get me to leave you. And I already had. I cut in. So, what's the problem? There's more. I crossed my arms. Go on. He rubbed his forehead. Jessica was blackmailing me. What? She found me again online a couple years ago. She wanted money. Said she'd tell you about the affair I had in 2014. I blinked. What affair in 2014? He went pale. That's when I snapped. Mark, you told me it was a rough year because of your mom. You said you were depressed. That's why you left the anniversary dinner early. You said you were working late that whole year, and it was because of your mom. I lied, he whispered. There was someone else back then. It didn't mean anything. I laughed. It was sharp, bitter. They never do they? That's when I saw movement behind us. Sarah. She had come to drop off her niece at a nearby playground. She spotted us, walked over, hesitated, then spoke. You okay? Mark turned red. Sarah looked at me, then at him. You want me to stay? I shook my head. No. But thank you. She gave Mark a cold stare and walked away. Mark stood up, pacing now. She started asking for more. Jessica. Then she said she'd call you. So I gave her money to shut up. But then Lila got involved. She found out. And then Monica? The one who texted you. He froze again. She's not real, he said. I felt dizzy. What do you mean? Jessica made the account. She was pretending to be Monica. So Jessica was impersonating another woman to keep tabs on me and him. That explained the threatening emails. It wasn't Lila after all. Why the hell didn't you just tell me? I shouted. He looked down. I was scared. I didn't want to lose everything. Well, guess what? You did. We didn't speak again for 2 weeks. Until court. Lila showed up uninvited. She tried to sit next to Mark, but he moved away. That said more than anything he could have told me. She made a scene when I left the building, screamed something about homewreckers and karma. A reporter from a local paper was there for an unrelated case and caught the tail end of her rant. Next day, the footage was on Twitter. My inbox flooded. Turns out, Lila had been through this before. Another affair, another wife, same story. She'd left 2 jobs after HR complaints and had been banned from one of the gyms in town. Suddenly, I wasn't the only one peeling back the layers. The final confrontation wasn't loud. It wasn't even planned. It happened on a quiet Sunday afternoon when Claire and Ryan were at their grandparents'. I opened the front door to take out the trash, and there was Mark. Alone. No drama this time. Just him. I signed the final papers, he said. I nodded. Good. I lost everything. You threw it away. He nodded again. I don't even know who I am anymore. I looked at him for a long time. You were someone I loved. For a long time. And someone I don't recognize now. He looked like he was going to cry, but he didn't. Then he asked something that floored me. Can I still come to Claire's recital next month? I blinked. You think I'd use my kids as weapons? I'm not you. He nodded, eyes glassy. I just had to ask. He left without another word. The immediate fallout was brutal. The kids had questions. Ryan got quiet and withdrawn. Claire had outbursts. I got them into therapy. I started seeing mine more often. It wasn't just about losing a husband. It was about realizing I never had him, not fully. I had memories and illusions. Sarah became my rock. She brought groceries when I was too drained to shop. She sat with me through breakdowns. Sometimes she made me laugh so hard I cried again, but in a better way. And one night, she said something I'll never forget. You didn't lose. You survived. It's been 3 months since the court finalized everything. Mark moved out of state. Jessica disappeared after she got hit with fraud charges. Turns out, she was extorting multiple men. Lila tried to reach out twice. I blocked her. My kids are slowly healing. So am I. I started painting again. Something I hadn't done since college. It doesn't fix anything, but it reminds me I'm still here. Still breathing. Still rebuilding. I don't know what comes next. Maybe peace. Maybe more chaos. But I do know this. I won't ever let someone make me feel small again. I won't hand over my trust without care. And I won't apologize for choosing myself. Not anymore.